Welcome, losers. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. UFC Perth just wrapped up, and boy, oh boy, do we have some things to talk about. The card itself was all right, but did you know that Wanderlei Silva had a boxing match tonight, and the aftermath in the ring was like Conor McGregor, Habib level of a disaster. So give me a second. I'm gonna upload a thumbnail and we're gonna get going. I'm gonna show the clips for that video. Poor Dominique Reyes, man. I'm very sad about that. La, na, 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 na. There we go. Boom. Almost there. Okay, cool. That's good enough. All right, so let's pull up the card first, and then we'll talk about some of the fights on the card, and then we'll talk about the Wanderlei Silva drama. Let's see. I hate the layout on PC. Like, I love the nice Google layout you look at on your phone. Like, let's get away from Yahoo. Okay. So straight up, like off the rip, this card was on paper not very appealing to me. Obviously, we're going to tune in and watch it, though. As soon as the Welsh gangster made the announcement that he was out, I'm like, okay, I'm for sure not pulling up to the prelims. I did make the main event of the prelims, if you will, the Navajo Sterling fight. I like Navajo Sterling. I think he's going to have problems as he continues to go up in competition against these other 205ers, though. It seems like he's kind of slow to get started. We haven't seen him be like super hurt, though. And I think that's a good thing because we've seen him take some good shots. Let's look at some of this together. Oh, it looks terrible. I hate that. All right. First on the card was Tom Nolan versus Charlie Campbell. I felt like we got cheated. I'll explain why. So this fight was so good while it lasted. Tom Nolan was able to find a submission in the first round. I wish to God this fight would have found a way to make it into the second round because it was making for a banger, quite honestly. But shout out to Tom Nolan getting the submission and getting it done in the first round. Next fight was absolutely fight of the night, and it's not even close. Let's look at the strike records or the strike percentages. I don't know if everybody can see. Neil Magny versus Jake Matthews. And it's really weird. You know, I was thinking before this fight, I'm like, have I seen this fight before? This just feels like a fight that I've seen before. And no, it's not. It's just that we see Neil Magny and Jake Matthews. They're very active fighters. Neil Magny, looking at the strike chart, it's interesting. So we have 73 strikes, 103 thrown for Neil Magny to 28 landed, 54 thrown for Jake Matthews. That's really interesting because I had Jake Matthews clear Neil Magny in the first two rounds, taking him down, almost submitted him in the first round. So I'm like, where is Neil Magny finding these positions at to score all these strikes? Now, while the fight was up, Neil Magny was pumping out double, triple jabs and landing them. So maybe there's just something I missed there. But Neil Magny basically threw a Hail Mary in that third round to get the submission. The referee almost stopped the fight at the very last second of the first round. Jake Matthews had Neil Magny in a compromised spot, but you got to have awareness too. Like, we're counting down on the clock. 5, 4, 3, 2. Like, I'm sorry. If I'm the ref, like, I've got to see a guy damn near dead in a submission before I call that, right? And it looked like the ref did call it, but Neil like jumped to his feet, so you could tell he was noticeably not out. I think in that moment, the ref could have made one of two choices. He could have said, you know what? It looked like your arm was limp. Where did we see this before? We saw this with Lawler versus Askren. That's where we saw this at. But the ref did the right thing. He allowed the fight to continue. It was more of the same from Jake Matthews in the second round. He almost got another submission. I mean, Jake Matthews was doing really, really well, finding submissions, doing good in the scrambles, and he was all right on the feet too. And then in the third round, this Hail Mary comes out of nowhere, and it's just a classic Neil Magny performance. It's a throwback performance, if you ask me. Like, it's just hard to bet against Neil Magny. I was watching him in the first round, and I'm like, man, Neil Magny is so good. He's so good. He's susceptible to the takedown, but he finds ways to win. He doesn't give up in fights. That's one thing you can't take away from Neil Magny. Moving up to the third fight of the night, Jack Jenkins versus Ramon Tavares. Not much to be said here. I thought Jack Jenkins won all three rounds pretty clearly. The strike chart is a little bit more even than what I remember it being, though. 73 going to Jack and then 68 for Tavares. Is it just me? Like, Tavares just kind of looked fluffy. He didn't look like he was in the best shape in this fight, and he just looked slow. He looked one step behind Jack Jenkins in the striking. 0-4 on takedowns. Whenever you're having a slow night out there and things just aren't going your way in the striking exchanges, you've got to find a way to get at least one of those takedowns. 3 takedowns for Jack Jenkins, 1 submission attempted, and that's the difference. To me, this was the most boring fight of the main event, but a pretty one-sided, thorough victory, I would say, for Jack Jenkins. Definitely my least favorite fight. Moving on up to the legend himself, Jimmy Crute versus Ivan Ersland. If you blinked, you missed this one. Jimmy Crute popped Ivan's fucking head off. Like, I'm pretty sure they're still looking for the guy's head underneath the octagon. I don't know what you call that choke. Leave a comment if you saw it. It was incredible. It was incredible. I wish that fight would have gone a little bit longer too. The reason I say that is because Jimmy Crute is just so tough. I love watching him get into these long, nasty, drawn-out wars on the feet, and I was hoping this one was going to be like that, but it wasn't. It wasn't. But shout out Jimmy Crute, awesome performance. And speaking of blinking and missing it, the main event. Guys, okay, I need your full attention on this one, okay? This was Dominic Reyes' last chance. This was his last shot. I don't even want to say it. This was his last shot to get a title shot. It was right there. It was right there. Fighting number 3, Carlos Ulberg. I'm going to be honest, like when he came out, he just didn't look good. Like something didn't look right. Whenever you've got guys that size, I understand they hit really hard, but when there's that level of inactivity, that means there's a lot going on up here. I've been to fights in person. I've got friends that fight at these heavier weight classes, and they've told me this. Like, whenever there's a period of inactivity, it's because they're calculating so hard that they're scared. And, like, no disrespect to Dominic Reyes. I think that he possesses the power to be able to finish anybody, but I think he was a little bit scared. I think he was trying to figure out Ulberg, and he just couldn't. Obviously, it was a 5-round fight. In the 5-round settings, you know, you don't have to get it all done in one round, but in these heavier weight classes, all it takes is one punch. And I didn't even want to see the post-fight interview. My heart is broken for Dominic Reyes. Like, I'm sure you guys would agree. Like, I think Carlos Ulberg kind of represents the new wave of the light heavyweight, but I think you could agree that when Dominic Reyes is challenging for titles, the light heavyweight division is just better. The UFC is just better. And that's not to say that he won't still get really high fights. I mean, what's next for him? He's still going to get somebody inside the top 10, I would think. I mean, my God, he lost to the number 3 guy. So I think Yuri Prochazka is booked to fight Khalil Roundtree, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe put him up against Jamal Hill. I think that's a great fight for both of them. That's like a win-win. Like, excuse me, if Jamal Hill wins that fight, you beat a guy who's like put together a 3 or 4 fight win streak. Yes, he got beat against Alberg, but that's a good thing for Jamal Hill. He needs a win. If you're our boy Dominic Reyes, if you get a win against Jamal Hill, that's huge. That's a former champion. So, you know, I had really high hopes. Dominic Reyes sure put a lot on himself going out to Perth, going out to Australia to take on somebody like Alberg, but he did it. I just know that right now he's killing himself internally. Like, I know that is not the fight that he wanted to fight. If he could press the reset button and we could watch this fight all over again, I think it would be a very different fight. But nevertheless, whenever these guys are that heavy, all it takes is one punch. So that's kind of my 2 cents on the UFC card. Now, while the UFC fight was happening, Wanderlei Silva had a boxing match, I think, in Brazil. And after the match, all hell broke loose. I'm talking Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov type hell breaking loose. Fights everywhere, and it ended up with Wanderlei Silva getting knocked out cold by somebody who basically snuck him. So this is like real beef, I'm guessing. I had no idea this was happening. Like, I thought Wanderlei Silva was like on to politics and stuff like that in Brazil. I didn't even know that he was still in the fight game, but apparently this was a big deal. So let me look up this video real quick. As a matter of fact, I posted a video on my channel, so it won't be too hard to locate. But we're going to look at this together and try to figure out what to make up of it and kind of talk about that a little bit. Let's see here. Let me know what you guys thought about the fights if you did see it. If you did see it. If you didn't see it, I really don't blame you because it was a weak-ass card. Just like any UFC fight night or whatever, unnumbered card, if you give it a chance, they always do have a few fights that come through. And it was no different with this one. Okay, so we're going to look at this Wanderlei Silva. First, let's look at the highlights. Here we go. Let's bring it to stage. I want the circle. There we go. There's my circle. Oh, can you guys see that? It's kind of small. So you can see Wanderlei Silva. He's the bald one. It's kind of hard to miss. This was kind of the highlights during the fight. And this was on Vinicius Oliveira's Instagram. Shout out Vinicius Oliveira. There was a lot of people from Brazil at this event too. Okay, we'll watch the highlights one more time. We see Wanderlei Silva getting tagged with the jab. I'm not sure who this guy is that he's fighting. All right, it's enough of that. Okay. This was after the fight. Straight hell breaks loose. All hell breaks loose after the fight. I'm sorry if it's so small. This is the best we can do. Vinicius Oliveira is cackling. He thinks this shit's hilarious.
O clima esquenta. Tudo que não podia acontecer. Tudo que não podia acontecer. O Dida entrou, o Thor também entrou ali na briga. E aí virou
just gets hit with the right hook from somebody in the ring. He didn't even see it coming. It's essentially a sucker punch. And I've got one more video where we can see it a little bit better. We can see it a little bit better right here.
Mas aí o clima esquenta. Tudo que não podia acontecer. Tudo que não podia acontecer. O Dida entrou, o Thor também entrou ali na briga. E aí virou realmente, vale tudo, Wanderlei foi tocada.
I need to see this again. I need to see who it was that knocked Wanderlei Silva out.
O clima esquenta, tudo que não podia acontecer. Tudo que não podia acontecer. O Dida entrou, o Thor também entrou ali na briga. E aí virou realmente, vale tudo, Wanderlei foi nocada.
I don't know who that was that knocked Wanderlei Silva out. It didn't look like the opponent. So apparently, Apparently, Wanderlei Silva got disqualified in their boxing match. You know, who knows what the hell happened. But apparently these two guys had beef. Let me see if I can't find an article. I'm sure like Bloody Elbow or one of these guys have written an article about it. Wanderlei Silva's out here catching L's. All right, let's see. CBS Sports talked about it. Okay. UFC Hall of Famer Wanderlei Silva knocked out cold in wild post-fight brawl after exhibition boxing match. Mixed martial arts legend Silva foray into boxing took a bizarre turn, followed by a brutal one. Silva was facing former two-division world champion Acelino Freitas in an exhibition fight at the Spaten Fight Night 2 in Sao Paulo, Brazil, when he was disqualified after a clearly intentional headbutt. Wanderlei, you're too old to be headbutting guys, brother. If guys like Jake Paul and all these MMA guys that fight Jake Paul can go in there and have a clean fight, we expect nothing less of you. You're too old for that. Let's see if we can pick up some context on the beef, though. Rather than the standard easy approach to such a fight, Silva appeared to grow increasingly frustrated as Freitas, who retired from professional competition in 2017 with a career record of 41-2 with 34 knockouts, was clearly the superior boxer. Well, duh. You know, I know the Freitas guy is old, but like he's a boxer. Silva has always been more of a brawler, and let's be real, like he hasn't been in like competition shape in probably the last 10 to 15 years. Like I watched Wanderlei Silva against Rampage Jackson 3. It was their first fight in the UFC in like 2007. And he was way past his prime then. And I'm not saying that this guy he was fighting wasn't past his prime, but he just retired in 2017, the guy he was fighting. At one point, Silva pinned Freitas in the corner and ignored the referee's instructions to separate, leading to a point deduction. Just a few minutes later, Silva launched his head into Freitas and lost a second point. It didn't take much longer before Silva had been disqualified from the exhibition. After the fight, both teams were in the ring when shoving began. Silva was struck from a blow from behind from what appeared to be Freitas' team member. The chaos continued to build before someone landed a sweeping right hand to Silva's chin, sending the MMA legend crashing to the canvas unconscious. Let's see if this video is a little clearer. Oh, yeah, that looks good. Here we go.
O clima esquenta, tudo que não podia
acontecer. Tudo bem.
Tudo que não podia acontecer. O Dida entrou, o Thor também entrou na briga. E aí virou realmente, vale tudo, Wanderlei foi nocauteado. Algo que não deveria ter acontecido, saiu totalmente do controle.
How do you recover from that? Like, you can't be out here. Okay, so first off, I'm sure Wanderlei Silva has made a lot of good money in his fighting career. But to have an event like he was a part of, that is an opportunity, an amazing opportunity at that. To be clinching and holding past the referee's instructions, to launch headbutts, that's crazy work from a guy as old as Wanderlei Silva. All right, we got to throw a Zenny in, boys and girls. Oh, that's good. Let's watch this one more time. Let's watch this one more time. This is ridiculous. I want the circle. There we go. So this is after the fight. After Wanderlei Silva's boxing fight, all hell breaks loose. This is worse than Conor McGregor and Khabib. You see, he got clipped twice right there. Look at him, dumbass. Still got his boxing gloves off. Get your gloves off, man.
E aí virou realmente, vale tudo, Wanderlei foi nocauteado.
No. We gotta see that
também
again.
entrou ali na briga.
This dude's throwing.
E aí virou realmente.
Okay, with this dude with the fade, and he's turning back and he's. This shit is chaos.
Algo que não deveria ter acontecido.
This shit is chaos. And all of this because of a disqualification. Let's see if there's some more context on this report here. Let's see. Can everybody see? Okay, good enough. Silva, former Pride middleweight champ, UFC, blah, blah, blah. So I don't see anything giving us more context on what the beef was about. Oh, is this another angle? When you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Wanderlei Silva's 50 years old, and his wife, if he has a wife, and his kids, if he has kids, grandkids maybe, just saw his dumbass get knocked out. He's always been a hothead, right? I heard that as he got older, he kind of chilled out. He made a lot of amends. Guys like Chael Sonnen, I think he's cool with him now, but he's always been this hothead type character. I don't know if you guys remember the story about Crazy Horse. Apparently backstage, back in the day in Pride, him and Crazy Horse got into it, and Crazy Horse knocked his ass out. Let's see if there's another video right here. It says fan footage. Damn, dude. Come on, give me a video. All right, let's do this. Everybody see? Oh! That's not good. They're dragging him out. They're dragging him out. Oh my God. Yo. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Not the sort of thing that I want to have happen to me when I'm in my 50s. Like I said, man, what an opportunity to kind of be squandered. Like, do you think anybody's going to want to do an exhibition with Wanderlei Silva anytime in the near future? Probably not. Probably not. I'm not saying that it wouldn't happen, but what a shit show. Dude, you're 50 years old. Like I said, with the rise of Jake Paul and all these other MMA guys crossing over into boxing, at least they can put on a clean fight, even if they're not as skilled as one may hope. Like, they're not shooting double leg takedowns, aside from Dylan Dennis that one time, but he was just kidding, really. Headbutting Wanderlei, really? We're going to look at this video one more time for people just joining in, and then we're probably going to wrap up. Yeah, that's Wanderlei Silva getting dropped after his boxing match. Bro, I can't get over them dragging him out like that. It's sad. Is he all right? I'm laughing, but like, do we even know if Wanderlei Silva's all right? Like, we know he's got knocked out before, like a million times. He's a fighter. He's a fighter, but yeah, Jesus, man. Crazy. Dominique Reyes, Wanderlei Silva. This night couldn't go any worse. I'm big fans of both of these guys. The Axe Murderer was my first favorite ever fighter. That's the sickest shit ever. I used to love that. All right, guys. Well, that is going to conclude this video. Let me know what you thought about the fights at UFC Perth down in the comments. Let me know what you thought about Wanderlei Silva and his foolishness down below in the comments. I will holler at you guys very